Hello everyone, I am Naresh Chaurasia. I'm here to talk about Core Java. You can find me at messagefornaresh@gmail.com. So let us talk about access modifiers today. The access modifiers in Java specifies the accessibility or scope of a field, method, constructor, or class. So what does it mean? It means that we have fields, method, constructor, or even a class. When we associate an access modifier with one of them, then the access modifier or accessibility or scope comes into play. Now we can change the access level of fields, constructor, methods, or class by applying the access modifier on it. So I will show this with an example to you shortly. So now the question is, can one class access members of another class? So this is divided into two parts. The first part is whether method code in one class can access a member of another class. So to understand this point, I'll go to my next slide. Here, as you can see, I have this outermost package, another package. Then inside that I have a class. Class has method and field. Similarly, another class is there here, and then there is a method. So this first point, whether a method code in one class. So let me go to my drawing board. So what I'm trying to say here is that method code in one class. So this is, let's say, one class, this is another class. So whether this method in this class here can access either this method or this member, which is the field of another class. So whether method code in one class can access a member of another class. This is one point of discussion. And another point of discussion is whether a subclass can inherit a member of its superclass. So the another point of discussion is, suppose you have a superclass and you have a subclass here, right? Now this class, superclass, which is a car here, will have a member. It could be a field or a method. So when the Maruti class is inheriting the car class, whether a subclass can inherit a member of its superclass. Now the second point I am going to talk about in a separate discussion. For now, my focus will be on this first point, whether method code in one class can access a member of another class. So I have already talked about this diagram which is in front of you, and I have also talked about this diagram. So my focus will be discussion around this particular diagram. So we are going to see that in this particular case, I have, let's say, one package here, another package here, right? So again, going to my drawing board, I have a package here and I have a package here. Now I have a class here in the package and a class here in the another package. From this method, I'm going to access this method or this particular field. Now it might also be possible that I have a single package. Let's say I have a single package, and that single package is having a class, one class and another class. So this is class C1 and this is class C2, right? Now this concept is applicable whether the classes are in two different packages or within the same package. So going back to my slides here, this I have already talked about. This is with respect to inheritance, which I'm going to cover in subsequent discussions. So before we dive into the code, we should know that what are the types of access modifiers. There are actually four types. One is default type. Default is when you do not specify any access modifier explicitly, it is a default type. Then we have private type, we have public, and then we also have protected. So first of all, let's try to understand the concept of Java access modifiers with the help of public class access. Now, one very important point to note is that all the discussion centers around whether the class are in the same or different packages. So as I have already explained to you, accessibility has a lot to do with whether I have this class and this class in different packages or in same packages. So we are going to take example initially for keeping the class in the same package, and then eventually for keeping the classes in two different packages, right? So let us go to the next slide. Now the access level of public modifier is everywhere. It can be accessed from within the class, outside the class, within the package, and outside the package. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a single package, have class in that and another class, and try the access within the same class. So first let's try out that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I have already created a package which is package 1 in connect to tech. So I will just rename it to connect to tech.java. I'll rename it here .java, and I'm going to create a class inside this. So for that, what I will do is I'm going to create a simple class which I'm going to call class with a main method. So I'll call main class, right? And I will also have a main method created here, and I'll say finish. Now what I'm going to do is that I will also create one another class new, and I'll say class, and I'm going to call it as student, student, right? Now inside the student, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some methods and maybe some members. So I'll say string name equal to, let's say student name is Java, and I'll create a method here. I'm creating a method here. Public void study open close bracket, right? And since our discussion is regarding public, so I'm going to make this name as also public, right? Now let me come back to the slide here. Here the discussion was regarding accessing member within the class, right? So if you look at this particular case, in this particular case, I have a public member and I have another public member, right? So when we are within the same class, as I have mentioned at this point here, within the class, a member which is public can access another member which is public. So study can access an attribute name. So I will say system.out.println, and I can simply access it by the name, right? Also, in this case, a method is accessing an attribute. A method can also access a method. So let's say I have one more method here, which is public void do assignment open close bracket. And here I'm saying, let's say I copy and paste this line here, and inside this I'll put I do assignment, right? This method I can call from the study by simply putting the name of the method followed by bracket. So basically what I have done here is within the same class, a member which is a public member can access a public member which is an attribute or a public method. I'm emphasizing on the word public because the discussion is around public. So here within the class, a member can access any other member. So let's try to run this program. So what I'm going to do, I'll go to the main class here, which has my main method. Here I'll create an instance of student, student, student s equal to new of student, right? Now here I'll say s dot, uh, I will say I have this method, I'll show it to you as study. I'll copy this and I'll go and put it here, right? Now let me split these two files next to each other so that you can see what goes inside them and how the call is happening, not like this. Yeah, so let me put them next to each other. So here when I create an instance of student, it calls a method study of this particular class, which in turn is accessing another member of the class. So this is a concept of accessing the members within a class, and the members are public in this particular case. Now, if we look at this example carefully, what I have also done is that outside the class, but within the same package is also being covered here, meaning that I have the same package. So this is package, same package. This is also same package one. And within the same packages, I have two classes. So I have taken this particular example where within a package, which is let's say package one, I have class one and I have class two. Class one and class two are in this case main class and student class, right? So this class is accessing the members of another class. So when it is public access modifier, and if you are within the same package, then a class can access the members of another class provided they are in the same package. Now, what about if the class is outside the package? So in that case, what I will do is let me create one another package which I already have. I'll just rename that. So I have this here, package 2. I'm just going to rename it to connect2tech.java. And inside this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one more package that we are going to use and also have one other class created. So let's say I create, in this, I create a book. I go here, I create a book, and I hit enter or finish. Now inside the book, I can give it some name. So string name equals to, let's say, I'm going to give it Java Selenium, maybe, or you can give whatever name you want, any name of your choice. And here I'll create a method public void read. So this is basically saying system.out.println read book. Read book. Now this is a case where we have the two classes in two different packages. So this is a case here where I have package 1, package 2, class 1 and class 2, right? So if you consider this to be a class, which is a main class having main method, I have to access I have to access another class, which is basically this class here, right? So in order to do that, now this is an analogy which is similar to something being in two different, of course they are packages, but two different boxes or rooms you can assume, right? Now this class which is here does not know of this class which is in another package. So first of all, what we have to do is that if I have to use this class here, I have to import this class here. So how do we do that is, first of all, I will say in this class import, and I will have to import this entire package name dot class name. So I will copy this to save time, import this dot book. So by importing this, what I am saying is that this particular class, which is main class, is aware of the location where book class is residing, which is in package 2 in this particular case. Now, once the import is done successfully, what I can do is I can create an instance of this particular class here by saying book B equal to new of book, right? And then after that, I can say B dot, and I can call the method of that particular class. So if I run this program, it will display read book. Now let me for the time being comment these two lines. I don't need this for now. I can call the method as well as I can also call the attribute. So if I say system.out.println, right, and I can say b dot, so I have also defined an attribute. Now there is something interesting you should note here. When I imported a class, when I import this class here, the class becomes visible. Now, if I have to access a method of that particular class, then I have to make sure that a method is also public. And when the method is public, I can access the method. As you can see, I can say b.read. So first of all, let me run this program and then I will come to the next concept. So I'll right click, say run as Java application, and it will display me read book because of this method call. Now, if you will see when I'm trying to access this particular member, b dot name. So let me copy this and put it here. You will see that it is giving me an error, which is a compile time error, which is this is not visible. The field book name is not visible. Why is that so? It is because if you want to access the value of this attribute in another package, you have to make sure that the attribute is also declared public. Meaning that if a class is public, so let me come back to the diagram here. You have made this class public, and because it is public, you were able to import it. So let me just change my color here. So if you import this here, for example, the class is made visible, but if you want to access attribute or method, you also have to declare those methods and attribute also public. Otherwise, you will not be able to access those members. So the conclusion is just by making a class public does not mean that you have access to the members also. In order to have access to the members, you should also declare the members as public. That's all in this video. I hope you enjoyed this session. Do not forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel and leave your comment in the comment section below. Thank you.